Did Bruce Cassidy lose the locker room this past season? Can he keep it together this upcoming season? More ahead on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cordasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast, and please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and check out some of their latest propositions. There were some indications, Chris, this past season that perhaps Bruce Cassidy might have started to lose the VGK locker room. How much did Cassidy, first off, rely on his leaders? And remember, there were all sorts of things that kind of led me as indicators to believe that something was going on behind the scenes. Just some of the instances that stood out in my head. I just remember after a loss to Tampa, Paul Cotter saying that Cassidy told the team leaders that they needed to step up. I think he relies a little bit too much on the team leaders. I know Cassidy said after a loss to Toronto that VGK was losing its identity. Remember that? And then we had that instance with Nick Hague. And again, he said after a loss that VGK, well, it's not like we're throwing each other under the bus or anything, right? That was Hague who said that, correct? And so I just remember all of these issues leading up. Those are just some of the things that stood out. And not much shouting on the part of, Cassidy, I guess, in public, but behind the scenes in the locker room. How did this impact? How did this affect the Golden Knights, perhaps in a negative way, especially with the team leaders? I guess that's a good way to start.
Starting with two of the team leaders, Pietrangelo and former Golden Knight Alec Martinez, they were kind of the defenders, if you will, of the locker room in the sense that if Cassidy was getting a little too much into some of the younger guys, they were the ones that were trying to slow Cassidy down. And there were some instances of some up and backs in the locker room, particularly with Pietrangelo and Martinez. Pietrangelo is absolutely adored in that Golden Knight locker room. I know there's a lot of people that are concerned with his on the ice stuff, but his off the ice stuff, he is a captain. He is a former captain. He is a captain as far as the locker room of the Golden Knights are concerned. He is definitely one of the leaders and one of the good guys. I'm not sure if you got mixed up with Nick Hague or if there was something else, but Braden McNabb was the one.
McNabb, it was. Okay.
I wish there was another instance.
Sorry, that's all I said.
No, it's all good.
McNabb.
Okay. McNabb is the one. I forgot how I framed the question, but the answer from McNabb was, we're not going to turn on each other. We're not going to turn on each other.
Right.
And then I don't know if I asked him what the temperature of the locker room was, or I forgot exactly how I said it. And then I think someone else asked a question after that to kind of follow up and same deal. We're not going to turn on ourselves. We're not going to turn on ourselves. When players are saying stuff like that, they're turning on themselves. It's a tough locker room. And this is also normal to a degree. Let's make sure we're clear here. Seasons have highs and lows and everything in between. Teams don't go 82-0. There's going to be trouble in paradise. Cassidy certainly has a history behind him, and I got something queued up here after in a couple of minutes here out in this segment that we'll talk about. But definitely issues in the locker room last season, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. I got a pretty reliable source, to say the least, as far as who's giving me some of the information about some of these other players and stuff that's happened. And yeah, it was not all sunshine and rainbows, as Jonathan Marchessault stated many times.
Remember that Cassidy did indeed lose the locker room in Boston. Is this about the time that Cassidy is losing his voice here? The voice perhaps gone stale. Who knows?
2.5 seasons average. Let's not forget.
This will be year. Yeah, exactly. I was going right there too. This will be year 3 of a 5-year deal. $4.5 million he makes per year in his contract, and Does that apply to the salary cap? Just kidding. JK, but is he losing his voice here? That's the bigger question right now. Year one, okay, they put up with him. Year two gets a little bit.
Year one, he won the Stanley Cup. I don't think putting up with him is the way to say it. He was a big part of that.
Marchessault put up with him,
sure,
but not so much in year two. And now finger pointing starts this past season. Does it continue in year three? That's a big question.
We're going to learn a lot about Cassidy right now. And before he got fired from Boston, this is something from the Causeway crowd. This is from Jason Cook back in September 28th, 2022. So taking a look here, Cassidy was fired. His record was absolutely, 245 and 108, 245 wins, 108 losses. Still not enough to keep Cassidy employed. So here is something very interesting. First of all, Don Sweeney was getting a lot of heat as far as drafts and players that were passed up on. Josh Norris, Robert Thomas, Jason Robertson. Still got Jeremy Swayman. So, I mean, he still did okay, obviously. But as far as here's just kind of things that made sense about Bruce Cassidy's firing in Boston. In the month of July, he got fired in June. The Bruins extended Patrice Bergeron, brought back David Krejci. Krejci was playing overseas, I guess. Jake DeBrusk all of a sudden rescinds a trade request.
Mm-hmm.
That right there, and then going back to David Krejci. Krejci was playing overseas in the Czech Republic and comes back. And DeBrusk all of a sudden doesn't want to get traded. Again, that's Causeway crowd Jason Cook that wrote that article back in September of 2022. So it's important to recognize that Cassidy has not the cleanest of pasts. And I don't know if any coach does. I mean, I don't think Cassidy's exclusive to this club. Coaches learn, coaches, grow just like players and stuff like that. How much has Cassidy grown over the last, 2 years now? What has he taken from his days with Boston, where he would all but roll the bus forwards and backwards and everything in between over his players in some press conferences? We get tastes of that here. We need one more save. We need one more save. Players hate that crap. Players absolutely hate hearing that crap and through the media.
Mm-hmm.
So younger players absolutely have it much more difficult under Cassidy. They got to prove themselves. Tony, you love that one. They got to prove themselves. Well, the Golden Knights got a little bit younger. They're now the 10th or 11th best team. Was that Jack Manning? I think that put that out there a little while back. 10th or 11th youngest team all of a sudden. This is a much different version of the Stanley Cup champion team. This is a much different version, Tony, than the best Golden Knight team ever. This is a much different version. What does Cassidy have now? Cassidy's going to have to get the absolute maximum out of the 20 regular players and the 2 goaltenders, 3 goaltenders probably at some points. The max.
You know what really concerned me this past season, and you and I both like and respect Bruce Cassidy. Let's get that out there.
100,000%.
But the lack of effort at times. Now, you could go through all of the rash of injuries and you could have issues, whatever, but the lack of effort was so apparent on the ice at times this past season that the team didn't respond. No matter, again, it was Pete DeBoer-esque because we saw his last season where VGK just decides, well, you know what, we just don't feel like playing tonight. And we saw a lot of that in season 2. We saw a lot of that regardless of who was on the ice. And, again, pushing those buttons perhaps gets a little bit old. And I think that we could sense that something was up this past season because, you know what, you could do anything, right? You could have a poor performance, a bad night, whatever. But if you lack the effort, something is wrong. The messaging that Cassidy gives this team is just not getting through to the players. It's not.
Next week, we'll be having a report card edition of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. Cassidy, I think, will be our lead topic. And one of the biggest grading points for me when we offer our grades for Coach Cassidy and the players is, like you said, the effort of the team and team chemistry. Wait a minute. Team chemistry.
Oh, no, not there.
That was the absolute buzzword of the exit interviews.
That was the absolute worst excuse.
That was the buzzword. Okay,
yeah.
Fine. But chemistry, sure. Okay, fine. I get it. It takes time for things to mix and everything. But who is responsible for the chemistry? Who's the one that has the test tubes and the Bunsen burner on and all those other flasks and stuff and all those other weird science names I haven't thought about in the last 25, 30 years of my life. But who's the one that's pouring all these ingredients into this big, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a name right now, into the measuring cup? Who's the one pouring all these ingredients in? It's the coach. It's Coach Cassidy. It's Coach Cassidy who had a 2-0 lead in round 1 of the playoffs and then loses 4 out of 5 games to the Dallas Stars. Like, these are important things. And I know this is going to get us back on some people's what list, a topic like this, and that's fine. I'm definitely okay with that. But the
Christmas
reality
shopping
is,
list? Christmas shopping list. Their Christmas
get us
shopping list
on the pour the stuff in the bucket list. That stuff that you pour in there and you flip, you throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That list. That list. But point being is, it is important to acknowledge that there are going to be some possible issues. Again, we have to see how the next season plays out here. It's not doom and gloom in the sense that we are just automatically jumping on Cassidy saying he's going to fail in season 3. That's not the case. What we are doing is acknowledging Cassidy's past. We are acknowledging Cassidy's troubles in Boston. We are acknowledging Cassidy's issues with developing some young talent. Again, there are some players that people forget about that were developed under Cassidy, like a Brad Marchand and some other players he had in Providence and things like that. Charlie McAvoy, another player that was developed really well. We're acknowledging the fact that Jake DeBrusk rescinded a trade request when Cassidy left. We are acknowledging the fact that a player left the Czech Republic to come back to the Boston Bruins because Bruce Cassidy left. So these are all important things heading into the next season for the Golden Knights. And by the way, Golden Knight coaches have an average tenure of 2.5 years. Cassidy's not even there yet.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This will be very interesting this upcoming season. And we know that I guess it's an understatement to say that Marchessault's relationship with Cassidy was at the very least contentious. What now happens? Who does Cassidy argue with the most? Like, who's the new Marchessault as far as the person that pushes back and gets into it a lot with Bruce Cassidy?
Pietrangelo is already the father of the team, I think, and don't take that the wrong way, folks, please. But he's the dad in the locker room that's trying to keep everything even. And Alec Martinez, I think, was the first one to stand up and support Pietrangelo in those circumstances when those moments happened. I don't think it's Mark Stone. I don't think it's Barbashev. On the defensive side, Shea Theodore.
Most likely to push back. Theodore?
I feel like Theodore, and I don't know. I have nothing to stand on with this. Someone has
to replace Marchessault with that.
Theodore, maybe
back
two players in contract years, right?
Okay.
Players in contract years, players who, kind of have nothing to lose at this point, whether they get extended and paid in Vegas or elsewhere. I can see those two maybe being the ones who might be a little chirpy with Cassidy. Aiden Hill, I think, he's a little quiet. I think Aiden Hill just kind of walks to the beat of his own music. Samsonov, no. None of the new players, I don't think. We'll see how Brisson relate. Maybe Brisson, as weird as this sounds. Brisson's young. He's got that.
Olofsson's got a past. Olofsson.
Sure. We mentioned Jack Eichel. Does Eichel emerge as a locker room leader now?
Yeah, I don't think Eichel's going to be the person that pushes back. I think he is on Team Cassidy. He is. I think he's totally bought into him, and he's helped his career and his game overall.
And the entire locker room is bought into Cassidy. Let's be clear about this. Like, let's make sure we're hitting both sides of this.
There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be hiccups around each other each day.
Of course,
there's bound to be something that just goes awry. Has to happen,
and it's going to be more magnified given the fact that Cassidy is entering his 3rd season with the Golden Knights with a seat that is getting warmer. It's not hot. The seat is warm.
Okay, what the 2 and a hook would bring us to when? Well, you said, I think we made predictions. January, right? So you said that he wouldn't make it past 2.5. You had a bold prediction? No.
No. The prediction was just saying the seat's hot coming in. What I did say,
the seat's hot, and it's getting hotter, and you're throwing stuff. You're so don't be getting.
What I did say was, as we're
it's time for a break,
we're a complete wreck, really fast. What I did say was, if the Golden Knights are deep on the outside looking in of the playoffs, come December or January, I would say they would make a coaching change.
And McCrimmon's going to need a scapegoat, I think, if that goes south. Absolutely.
There's the line. Will Ryan Craig coach the Vegas Golden Knights anytime in the 2024-25 season?
He's not ready.
Plus 1,000? He's the next coach. He's the next coach.
He's next man up. He's got a long way to go. Coming up next, VGK damage control. We'll explain next on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. We are driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. That's right. If you need to hire today, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 150 million global monthly visitors. And that's according to Indeed data. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to the other job sites, according to another Indeed recent survey. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide to get Indeed to hire great talent and fast. And don't forget that you could get a $75 credit right now by visiting Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget, tomorrow already, I can't believe the way these weeks just fly by. It is WTF with the Friday. Please leave your comments accordingly. And on Saturdays, at times, we've got the Chris Jr. show, and that is the YouTube exclusive. So, Chris, we have chronicled the off-the-ice issues with VGK's top draft choice, Trevor Connelly. I am still concerned about the draft pick, very much so, and even more now. I just think that there's more that's coming to the front about his past and a lot of things that have happened and bullying and all these things. I don't know why VGK is now currently using Connelly already in social media posts and videos. I'd have him right now going so far under the radar that you can't see him until they get him out there. The only thing that I would do, it doesn't put him in any light, positive or negative, the way that they're getting him out there. I just think that they are force-feeding us Trevor Connelly at this point. They're trying to play damage control with this player right now. Will fans forget soon? Who knows? I don't think so. I think you have a lot of people that are not in this camp at all, and they're really upset. And that, we have more protests out in front of City National about this guy. Oh, it's just a matter right now if VGK continues to do these funnish videos, which I thought he didn't even come off very well in that. I mean, ranking sides of steakhouse side dishes, I've never trusted anyone that ranks broccolini number 2. I cannot trust that person. Damage control.
Broccoli and broccolini.
And broccolini. It's the baby, right? The baby broccolis, like the offspring of the broccoli family. So in any event, it seemed a little bit contrived. Did you sense the same thing? Are you in the broccolini family?
No.
And, VGK, you could tell that they're trying to create an image for Trevor Connelly, and I didn't think it worked, personally. I'd much rather see him out there in the community doing some good in the community. Those should be your videos that you're releasing, kids cleaning up his act and moving forward. That's the way I would do it. That's how I would handle it.
So the response is, what are the Golden Knights supposed to do? I mean, they've made their bed, now they got to sleep in it, right? And they drafted a player with an incredibly ugly past of some terrible behavior that supposedly has been addressed. I did get a little information going back to his junior days. Is Connelly the type that is sorry for what he did? Is he sorry because he got caught? We don't know. We do not know his true character. And let's be clear, we are right now judging an 18-year-old. I've done a lot of stupid, you know what? When I was 18 years old, I didn't do anything like what Connelly did, but we've all had some extremely regrettable moments in our childhood at age 14, 15, and 16, stuff our parents never knew about. Again, I'm separating, the kid screwing off doing something dumb versus, what Connelly did. But in the same boats, mistakes do get made. And as far as the Golden Knights side of things, I don't know what they're supposed to do. I mean, yes, I do like the community stuff. I do like everything that you said. It would be nice to see him out there, whether it's those ball hockey clinics that they keep doing every other day, it seems like, whether it's, at a shelter volunteering, whether it's simply cleaning up around, whatever it is, like stuff like that, I think would be the better content for Connelly. No one gives a what about his broccolini rankings and stuff like that, nor is that going to make any Golden Knights fan forget about what he's done in his past. So back to the Golden Knights side, what are they supposed to do? I mean, if you bury the kid as far as everything else, I don't know if that's helping either situation. The Golden Knights, there's a commitment to character and integrity and everything when someone gets drafted. And, it's time for the Golden Knights to help this kid out. It's time for them to put him in the right locker room. Obviously, it's not going to be the Golden Knights locker room for a while, but just to surround him in as much positivity as possible. Burying him is not the answer, I don't think. Do I want to see him doing a bunch of stuff? No.
Well, just have him lay low for a while there. I think it might have been too soon, number one. Number two,
about 3 weeks already.
We see him, and he seemed a little, I don't want to say cocky. I don't know what it was that I detected.
Tony, you're judging an 18-year-old who is doing a brutal video that he didn't want to do.
Shouldn't have done. That's what I'm saying.
True. Okay, fine.
Send him out there in a positive light. And they do videos.
I'm not going to judge the kid off of that. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not going to judge him.
I'm just saying the first thing that we see out of him is something that, I don't know, oh, wow, this kid's great. He's funny. Like, the image is everything. It's absolutely everything. And can Connelly clean up his image here in Las Vegas of all places? I mean, that's a lot of people. You can't get reformed here, folks. Not in Las Vegas. I'm sorry. I'm not being negative. I'm not being Mr. Negativity.
Give our community a little more credit than that. Give our community a little more credit. It's tough. It's tough. Don't get me wrong.
Who do you think his big bro is? Like, so if he had someone that helps him out and mentors him, who might that be? I mean,
it's not going to be anyone on the Golden Knights anytime soon because he's not even going to be in Vegas a whole lot right now.
Okay, where does he start? ECHL? Well,
No. I think he's going. I think he's playing for his school, right?
Providence, yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's going to Providence.
So he'll do at least 1 year there. I mean, this could be. I mean, listen, if this kid is as good as they're saying, I mean, removing the other garbage right now for a second, but if this kid is as good as a lot of people are projecting,
you're saying they'll put up with this if he's as good as projected?
No, not at all. I'm saying we could see him possibly around the Golden Knights in the spring if he's that good. That you play out the college string for a season and then you join the club in the spring. We've seen that with some players in the past, or possibly as early as next year. But I mean, Jack Eichel, I think, is the only person to take a kid like this under his wing right now. Yeah. Eichel, show him, how Eichel, again, we talked about I think on Monday's show, how Eichel's identity was born in Vegas, right? He is a Vegas-born identity, if that's even a thing to say right there. So I think Eichel needs to take someone like Connelly under his wing. I don't think it's going to be like a Mark Stone or anything like that, but Eichel would be the perfect person to help keep this kid going the right direction. And again, we're talking about an 18-year-old who did something absolutely terrible. We're talking about an 18-year-old. We're judging an 18-year-old because he ranked Broccolini number 2 overall. Like, yeah, this is the reality that we're in right now because of the past this kid has, not because me and Tony like picking on 18-year-olds who judge Broccolini way too high.
No. It's just the way that they're handling the damage control and the way it started. Let's be clear here. It started on draft day. Yes. Where they were asking, was it Leah? I think they were asking Cassidy about, he said that he vetted him. And the follow-up question was, well, what did you do? Well, I'm not getting into that right now here. Like, come on. Like, and then the back and forth and finding out that McCrimmon's fingerprints are all over this, battling back with reporters when reporters are asking him if Bill Foley, signed off on this. No, there's a lot of controversy still around this. That's not the way that I would shape his image here in Las Vegas. He would be out there doing community work, not some little stinking thing back and forth with that Van Vliet kid or whatever his last name is. He's the positive guy. That kid's got a great image. He should follow his lead. I'm sorry.
Why? Because he ranked broccolini 5, Tony?
Yes. Cream corn number 1. And, I don't like lobster. I don't like lobster mashed potatoes. Okay. I just had enough of that.
Lobster, macaroni, and cheese. But Tony, listen, that's a good take. Honestly, all the goofiness aside right there, that is a good perspective. The Golden Knights are going to own the situation for better or for worse. They've never had this much controversy. There's more controversy around Connelly than when Jack Eichel came here. Let's be clear about this. Well, that's a concern right off the bat.
They have to make an effort as an entire organization to help him out. Organization. Sorry, my bad.
And is it worth it? In the end, we're going to find out.
Is it going to be worth it? Right, exactly. The headaches and everything else. Coming up next, is McCrimmon done? Does that mean done as in done? We'll explain next.
Good teaser.
Right here. Teaser. All right, good teaser. Right here on Locked On Golden Knights. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus each and every day. Of course, baseball is going to be coming back here the next couple of days. So a lot of folks will be hammering baseball, MLB style. And of course, we're looking forward to all the futures and all the bets and all the props around football. Football is in the air. Raiders rookies reporting this Sunday, in fact, in Costa Mesa. And so football season is definitely on the clock. I don't want the summer to be over. So head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. And we like to particularly shout out, as we always do, our everydayers. Become one of those, because that's where the fun really begins, because we continue our little story. We're great storytellers, I think, if nothing else, on the show. But we're not journalists. We're definitely not entertainers. So I was just looking at who's still out there, and only one name came to mind here. One of your favorite remaining free agents, UFA Daniel Sprong, still unsigned. Wonder why. But 18 goals in 76 games. But the more that I dug in to this player, to Sprong, I just feel that he is the type of player, with all these other little pieces that VGK has and all these depth pieces, a player that really could fit in with the Golden Knights. Down the stretch, it was just a little bit concerning that he played 76 games, but they made him a healthy scratch late in the season when they could have perhaps used some of his offense. Story sounds like Victor Olofsson's a little bit in that, he just late in the season there, like the healthy scratches and all that. You wonder why. More offense, less defense. More offense, less defense out of Daniel Sprong with him on the ice. 25 assists, however, and a player that has a good shot. And guess what? He shoots the puck. That's unheard of in these parts. He shoots the stinking puck. So would you take a flyer on him? He's about $2 million AAV, and they have to figure out how to put him in there.
All right, so a couple things here. One, you got to question what's going on with Sprong. Washington really never found his feet. 42, 47 games, 13 and 8 goals, whatever. Goes to Seattle for 21-22, gets 6 goals in 16 games. So that looked like it was maybe probably a deadline trade, if I had to guess. That would have been the 21-22 COVID shortened year, I believe. So now you go 22-23. He breaks out, right? 66 games, 46 points, pretty good. Plus 13, really good season. Seattle doesn't want to hold on to him. So now he goes to Detroit, 76 games, 43 points, -5. Okay, whatever. I just felt like that maybe there's something with this guy. So I just literally Googled Daniel Sprong issues. In August of 2023, accused of assaulting an IndyCar driver. Okay. So just kind of scrolling down, looking at some headlines here.
Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness.
So
he'll be the next video for side dishes. With
I
your
knew you were
steak.
going to love this, Tony, and the fact that I didn't even know this until now makes it
I didn't know
even
this
more
till now.
interesting.
Sorry, man.
So supposedly Sprung
Let down our
grabbed this dude by the neck and sucker punched him, leading to a head injury and
Who was
brutal
the
dental work. Oh, we got to find that picture.
Who was the IndyCar driver?
The IndyCar driver, I don't know.
The VGK's found its goon.
Zachary Clamon DeMello.
I don't know who that is. Okay.
I mean, listen, it's a bar fight. We don't know what happened and why and what was said. And I don't know if there's any charges or anything like that. But okay, now we got something out there. But I mean, if Trevor Connelly is going to get drafted, I see no reason why the Golden Knights aren't going to take a look at someone who got in a bar fight. I'm sure a lot of these guys have been in bar fights over the years. We just don't hear as much about it. So, I mean, again, Sprong on the ice. Is he much different than an Alex Holtz? Is he much different than an Olofsson or what
this
a
guy doesn't play any
or a Brisson?
defense? Well, if you're playing on a team that's got good defense, then they could cover for him at times. I think.
I mean, listen,
his offense I would like to have.
He was a plus 13 with the Kraken in 22-23. He was in 47 games a plus 6 with the Caps in 21-22, plus 7 the year before that in 2020-21. So I mean, again, I know there's a lot more than plus minus. I value that a lot more than some, but that's the first layer you peel back. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he is putting up some decent numbers. Detroit -5 in 76 games, most games he's ever played in his career.
Yeah.
-5 while getting 43 points. That's fine.
Isn't that kind of crazy, though, that when they needed him most, they made him a healthy scratch? Something was amiss there, but
he probably went to the bar and found another IndyCar driver. He probably got to fight at K1 or a pole position at the go-kart track.
Did IndyCar stop in Detroit this past spring for Sprung? Sprung. His agent, guess what? Guess who his agent is? Pat Brisson.
Okay, I thought you were going to tell me. I thought you were going to say it was Walsh, and we just wasted a segment.
No, that would have been that would have been awful. No, he blocked me too. By the way, I don't even know this idiot. But he blocked me. Whatever.
I got blocked by him like 3 years ago for, I don't know, whatever. I mean, bring that up, guys.
I don't even know.
That's the imbecile of the day right there.
All right. Were there any other free agents still out there lurking?
I mean, another player that I wrote about that the Golden Knights could take a flyer on, Kevin LeBlanc. According to Sport Track, he's still out there. Pacioretty's still out there. He ain't coming back. He definitely ain't coming back.
No.
I don't know how accurate this is because it still shows Chandler Stevenson as a UFA, so I don't want to get too deep into this list here. But Sprong, I know, is definitely still out there. And the fact that not just the Golden Knights, but no one has taken a flyer on him makes me wonder. I mean, the phones rang. People have talked directly to Sprong in the last 18 days or last 25 or 30 days.
Yeah, he shoots the puck. I like that. I
like it too, and I don't care about the bar fight that's going to happen. And, I mean, if anything, maybe he'll have more fire and passion. There we go. There's the fire and passion made the appearance today. Maybe he'll have more fire and passion. He'll be that player that will step up when the team is in the dog days of the season. And he'll be the scrappy guy that wants to lead by example. I don't know. Maybe we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but I still wonder if McCrimmon's got a trade. I'm talking to a few people who think McCrimmon's still working the phones right now. Are people taking his calls right now as much after Trevor Connelly? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget tomorrow's WTF, What the Stinking Friday, with all of your comments. We do appreciate everyone that chimes in. It's always a lot of fun, as is this show, and we appreciate our everydayers. On Saturday mornings, sometimes it's the Chris and Chris Jr. show when in season.
Summer, bro. It's summer.
On YouTube, the YouTube exclusive.
Leave us alone.
I wouldn't get out of bed if I were little Chris either on a Saturday morning, dude. But it is better.
He's playing hockey. He's doing other things.
It is better than cartoons. It's much better than cartoons.
It is.
Yeah. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll see you right here for WTF. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please stay hydrated and take care.